Hey there, superstar. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to know when it's time to let go of a coaching client. I know nobody wants to talk about what it looks like to let a client go, but sometimes we just have to do it. In this video, I'm going to dive into why it can feel so difficult to do it, why we hang on, what the benefit of letting go is, and then how to know if it's actually the right time to do it. As we evolve our businesses, as we grow and as we learn, sometimes we just outgrow our clients, or sometimes our clients even outgrow us. In any case, sometimes we need to let a client go and we're just not sure if it's the right time or if we should do it. And sometimes we just keep hanging on because we don't like to have difficult conversations, or we're feeling attached or scarce about money. So there are a lot of reasons why it might be difficult to let go of a client, but I do want to share some of the reasons why it can be really beneficial. One of the main reasons that it can support you to let go of a client is that you'll be opening up the space for a better fit. The truth is, if you're thinking that a client may not be a right fit anymore and you don't want to work with them anymore, or if they're feeling like they're not a right fit and they don't want to work with you, it can be really heavy to work with that client. And what ends up happening is then we show up to the calls, we show up to the meetings, not feeling super energy rich. And you and I both know what happens when we're not feeling energy rich. We're not as good at coaching people, and ultimately it brings down our mojo, brings down our vibe, and that can negatively impact our ability to attract and manifest that which is in alignment and in resonance with what we're looking to create. And so by letting go of a client that's not a great fit, you're opening up space for a new one, and you're naturally elevating your vibe so that you can attract that new client. So the solution to this problem and the context shift, you know me, I'm all about what's the reframe, right? The solution here is to really start this conversation about whether it's time to let somebody go and operate from abundance, right? Because so much of this conversation can get rooted in scarcity, right? You can be saying to yourself, should I let this client go? Well, if I let them go, then I'm going to lose this money. Or what are other people going to think? What are other people going to say? Are they going to tell other people or gossip about it, right? Does it mean I'm a bad coach? Does it make me look bad? There's all these reasons of things for why you might want to hang on to a client that are mostly rooted in either scarcity or ego, right? How is it going to look? How are other people going to perceive it? And so the first thing you want to do before you even look at this situation, before you even want to have a conversation, especially, you'll want to get yourself out of scarcity and planted in abundance. So I have plenty of videos for how to do that, how to alchemize, how to create more abundance. I highly recommend checking out one or more of those videos. But in a nutshell, really coming into presence and awareness and really asking the question, from abundance, what's true, right? From if I were clean and clear and in integrity and really, really operating from trust and faith that there is enough, that we are abundant beings, that everything is available for me and everything is happening for me, from that place, what is true? Right? And so let's dive into the question of, is this a client to let go of? The first question you want to ask from abundance is, do I feel safe around this client? Is this client safe? Like, is there attack happening? Is there projection happening, right? Like really honestly, also, you got to be really, really in integrity to suss out and separate that which is yours from that which is the client. So that means getting really clear and clean and in integrity and asking the question from that clean, clear, integrous place, is this a safe situation? Is this client someone that I trust and that trusts me? Right? A lot of times if there's a breakdown in trust, it goes both ways. And maybe the situation can be salvaged. Maybe the relationship can be repaired. We'll get to that. But the first question is this a safe situation, right? Is this someone that can be trusted to have a conversation with, to continue to work with, right? If the answer is no, I don't feel safe, then that's a really good indicator that it's time to let it go. And when I say safe, by the way, I am talking about both obviously physically, right? Although I haven't run into a situation where I felt physically unsafe with a client, but I'm sure it happens. But really mostly like emotionally safe. Is this someone I can trust? You know, I had an experience once with a client where I divulged some very personal details in an effort to connect and create more empathy and compassion. And the person really kind of used that information in a not very nice way by sharing it with someone else and kind of, sharing some things that I didn't think should be shared. They were shared in confidence. To me, that's not trustable. Now, I can make a decision to have a conversation about that, or I could just say, hey, you know what? That crossed the kind of boundary that I'm not willing to recover from. I'm just going to let that client go, which is ultimately actually what I did. The second question to ask yourself from abundance is this client showing up? Are they doing the work? One of the big things I've noticed is that if somebody is willing, for me at least, if they're willing, then that covers a lot of territory for me. The biggest determinant of if and whether I want to keep working with somebody, if we're a fit or not a fit, is really how are they showing up? Are they willing? I recently had a conversation with a client. We were talking about whether it was a good fit to keep going. Their contract or their agreement was completing. And I said, there were things about the client that I felt were not in alignment totally. And I had the thought of maybe it's time to let this client go. I'm not so sure. But instead, I had the conversation with the client about, are you willing to show up in this way? Here are the new standards, or I'm going to explicitly state the standards. Are you willing to show up now at this level? And the client said they were. And so I was able to re-enroll them and keep working with them because we had set clear new agreements about how they were going to show up. So sometimes it can be just as simple as clarifying what your expectations are, what your standards are, and giving the person the opportunity to either rise or to say no thank you. Now, before I continue, I do want to invite you to take a moment, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share any of your own experiences below with letting go of a client. The third question may seem a little obvious, but I'm going to share it anyway because it was a huge breakthrough for me when one of my mentors asked it of me. I was having all this trouble with a client, like consistently complaining about the client, having issues. I know, look in the mirror, right? We got to do that. But my mentor at the time, this was maybe 6 or 7 years ago, asked a very simple question that made all the difference. After I was complaining and sharing and blah, 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 finally said, hey, Michelle, I just have one question for you. Do you deeply desire to serve this client? And I took a minute, I could feel the importance of that question. And I had never really asked myself about it. I'd just been strategizing about how to get the client to show up better and, this problem and that problem. I'd never really slowed down and stopped and said, do I deeply desire to serve this client? And to my surprise, the answer was absolutely, I do. I really feel the desire. And then he said, well, from that place, everything is different. You're committed. Right? There's no this or that. It's just like I'm in. So what does that look like? If I'm all in, that looked like me having one of those difficult conversations where I'm like, listen, I deeply desire to serve you at the highest level. In order to do that, you're going to have to show up this way too. We still work together. I am still working with that client to this day. And so when you ask yourself, do I deeply desire to work with this client? If the answer is yes, then clearly you have a conversation that needs to be had, either with yourself about your own expectations, clearing out your own energy, and or directly with the client. And if the answer is no, I don't deeply desire to serve them, then you've got your answer. It is time to let that client go. And that, again, can be a very difficult conversation or not, right? I don't want to project that it has to be difficult. You might perceive that it's difficult, but it might be very simple. And so I've recently had a few of these conversations. I've been level setting and up leveling and setting new standards all across the board. And the truth is, in most scenarios, it's been a beautiful experience that's helped the client rise to a whole new level. And in one or two experiences, it's been not so beautiful, not so wonderful, and that happens too. And I have released them with a lot of love and a lot of blessings for them to go on their own way. And so that's the final thing. If and when you do desire to let a client go, I invite you and encourage you to do the inner work first, to forgive and release and to let them go clean and clear without hanging on to any resentment, because that resentment is in you. You're running that energy, and that is going to get in the way of you manifesting your next amazing client. I hope you found this video helpful. If you want to take a look at what it would look like to work together with me as your mentor, then check out my foundational program, the Superstar Business Breakthrough. You can find that at superstarbusinessbreakthrough.com.